My name is Ed Nardi, Chair of the Natural Resources Commission, and I am calling this public meeting to order at 7 p.m. Tonight's NRC meeting will be a hybrid in-person and Zoom meeting. We have microphones set up on the commission table, and plans will be projected through the TV monitor. If you're presenting via Zoom, please turn on your audio and microphone when it is time for you to speak. Following the presentation by the petitioner and questions from the commission, members of the public will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment. Please identify yourself with name and address for the record. You can also raise your hand from your phone by dialing *9 and use *6 to unmute. All video screens will be turned off with the exception of the commissioners, Delia, and the current petitioner. Once the commission has acted on an application, the petitioner is free to leave the meeting. In the event of any technical difficulties, all matters on the agenda that have not been heard will automatically be continued to the October 12th NRC meeting. At this time, I would ask the commissioners to introduce themselves. Sarah?
Sarah Grimwood.
Gary?
Gary Kleiman.
Nick?
Nick Pappas.
And Bill?
Bill Cremeza.
All right, thank you, guys. All right, so I don't believe we have any minutes this evening, and so we'll move to commissioner comments.
I have a comment.
Please, sir.
So as you all know, I'm the NRC representative on the CPC, and we've received our new applications for this next cycle. And we had our site visits last weekend, Saturday, so we're starting to just work through understanding the applications. I wanted to bring to your attention an application from the Friends of Kennedy's Pond, where they are asking for trail repair at Hillcrest Conservation. And this is town land. The application is about having some steps that were put in by the Scouts quite a few years ago, excuse me, replaced. And you know, it's a nice idea. It will link up a lot of support from the neighborhood, and there's a lot of people. The applicants have actually formed this organizational Friends of Kennedy's Pond, which now has a lot of members. They've put together the application. They've got quotes and such like. The problem is that this is town land, and they haven't. Is there somebody on the?
Someone speaking.
Oh, it's on the recording.
Yeah.
And yes, and so they obviously haven't consulted us, and Delia was not given enough time to really understand and had asked to work with them on the application about a year ago, I believe, but was only made aware that it was actually going in a couple of days before, so there just wasn't time to do anything. There's a number of concerns here, and I guess my main concern is we had an issue like this last year as well, and you know, I on the one hand, I know there's a lot of people who hope that we can just kind of, you know, make it happen anyway, but I really wouldn't want to set a precedent that we do that every time. I think this is going to take time. But in the application, they actually say that they met with several local landscape companies and town staff to assess feasibility, approach, and cost. And I don't know who the town staff were, but they've included some quotes. So
Where's Kennedy Pond?
West Concord.
Second Division Brook impoundment.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's a little bit of a conundrum.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So this is things like this. They don't. Most of the people who come to us probably get caught by the building department when they walk in and say you've got to go to natural resources. But something like this, they're not going to get intercepted by anybody who tells them they have to come to NRC, right?
Yeah, a little bit
That's
more
the problem.
Well, they were told they had to, right? They were told they would have to work with.
So I did, so somebody had reached out to me almost a year ago exactly and said, we have an application we want to submit. It's for Kennedy's Pond trail repairs. And I said, 3 days is not enough time to coordinate and review and work with you on an application. But I said, I'd be right, because there's a lot of work that has to go into that. You know, I would go out, take a look, you know, bring the engineering department, what can we do in-house, what's the scope of work, and really try to understand, you know, what we.
And it's jurisdictional work, right?
Right.
They got to
Yes.
do.
Well, it's on It's
on
on
our
conservation land.
Yeah.
So I said, I'd be happy to work with you for an application for this year. And I didn't hear anything back. And then it was the same sort of scenario where 3 days before the application was due, hey, we just need you to sign the application. Can you work with us? And I obviously want to work with people to get things done, but
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
It's not
getting-
possible
but
to
even
do that in
quotes and
3
things,
days.
You wouldn't be able to. So I'm not saying I don't support the idea, but I do think it needs work with the town and, discussion with the NRC before it warrants as a viable application.
So, Sarah, do you think as a suggestion that perhaps Delia could draft a letter to the CPC, just laying out the steps that would typically be,
Yeah.
that would go through the process that, the town, the NRC, other boards if they happen to come across those.
Yeah, I think
just,
that would be good to lay out, well, not just for these applicants, obviously, but also so that everybody else can be reminded of the
Yeah.
process for next time, so we don't have this happen every year.
Yeah, from other,
Because
perhaps
it's
other.
disappointing, and I know.
John's there in the audience.
Can folks mute if you're not already?
Well, I think that's well put, Sarah, in terms of being more of a letter that speaks not only to this, but other perhaps efforts from other interested parties for efforts like this on town land.
Mhm.
Sure.
I was interested, actually, Delia, maybe you can answer this. In the application, they make note there's a Hillcrest Conservation Land sign
Mhm.
that it says is painted and preserved, has been painted and preserved several times by an anonymous neighbor. But is that actually the town?
That's not one that we, so
Okay,
one
so
of
it is
Will's,
an anonymous neighbor.
I think that's
Okay.
accurate.
Yeah.
One of Will's things that our land manager is doing is going around and inventorying all of the structures, kiosks,
Mhm.
signs, benches, everything that we have on town land, so that we have a list. When was it last updated, maintained, replaced, that sort of thing. And this is not one that we have on the
Oh, okay,
list.
so that's not, I mean, it's nice, somebody's
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
out for
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And the stairs really are in bad repair. I mean, it needs, most of the commission couldn't go down or didn't want to
Are
go
those
down.
the stairs that they're talking about at the Hillcrest
Yes.
sign? Yeah, I know
Yes.
those stairs. They
Yes.
are, they're very steep too.
They're very
and long.
steep
See if I
and,
can have a video
I mean,
of
I did it. I did,
Yeah,
but,
I do it on my runs. so.
yeah,
Yeah, and that might be also part of the process, looking at alternates, or if the stairs are really steep, you want to just simply
Right.
replace them.
Right.
yeah.
Or is there maybe a better pathway down? I don't know the site well, but
So I will draft a letter for the commission to review at the 10-12 meeting.
sure.
Okay. And it's to just sort of lay out a process that we
Yeah.
would hope that applicants go through to get buy-in from the landowner before presenting a project to him.
And maybe indicate the lead time that's really required for
Yes.
the NRC and the town and people to get involved in, so that everybody gets thoroughly vetted.
Right.
Yes, and you need the quotes because you need to know how much money you're asking for. So
Right.
it all has to happen, you have to have the plan worked out in time to get the quotes. So
Right.
it is quite a process.
It is.
Mm.
It is.
Yeah.
No
So what
question.
is the deadline they're facing in terms of CPC? What is the deadline that the organization is up against? Right,
It's already passed.
It's already
Right.
passed.
Yeah.
It was like last
So-
week
so-
you had to
Right.
submit.
September 16th was the deadline
Oh, okay,
for
okay, got it.
CPA applications.
Okay.
But there's another round next mid-September.
Okay,
And then CPC goes
Yeah,
through
so
its
it's
process of
annual.
evaluating the applications that came in by September 16th in time to make a recommendation
And then by
before the close.
January, we have to make our recommendation and then it goes to town meeting.
got it, knew that, yeah.
And
Okay.
then the funds are released in July. So, it would delay it all by a year.
Yeah.
Okay. I think appreciate that, Delia. Thank you.
Okay, yeah,
And
thank
thank you,
you,
Sarah,
thank
for
you.
that heads up. All right, hey, Bill, you want to do the continuance? We have two of them this evening.
I have
Sure.
just a few quick things.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah,
That's
go
okay.
ahead.
No.
Please.
I'll just segue
Okay,
off the
please,
CPC discussion. I put in 2 applications for the Natural Resources Division. The first is for an open space and recreation plan update that expired in February of this year.
Mhm.
I'm looking for consultant funds, 75,000 to assist with the update of that. And that allows us not only to have a roadmap for our open space and recreation planning, acquisitions, stewardship, these sorts of things, but also it allows us to obtain some federal and state grants. So we got the 500,000 for the Assabet River Bluffs acquisition because we had a valid open space plan, and we got the $400,000 grant for the October Farm acquisition. So in the last 7 years of the valid open space plan, we were able to receive $900,000 in state and federal money. And the second one is the Warner's Pond dredging project. I mentioned at the last meeting that the bids had come in at 9.5 million. We had anticipated around 3. So I put in an application to sort of stay alive so that there's a deadline. I wanted to meet that, but I, had a meeting with the CPC for the site visit, and I think there's a larger question that NRC, the townspeople, that we should have a public forum, FinCom, select board, I'm not sure who all needs to be or should be involved, but I think it's a very broad discussion on, is this dredging project worth, I don't think it's a $9 million ask, and we'll reduce it down, but I think there's a larger question of whether or not we pursue this dredging project at this substantially higher cost.
I agree. It's that the pond is in terrible shape. I mean,
It
you
is
look
in
at,
terrible
and
shape. It
it's
is
hard to
in terrible
imagine,
shape.
even there's gonna be a beach at some point. It's hard to imagine in one sense.
I mean, that was talked about on the Giroux land
Yeah.
as a phase 2.
Mhm.
And, I mean, I learned to swim in Lake Iroquois in
Yeah,
Vermont,
okay.
and that
All
was
right.
like, it was, that was similar. It was weedy and pondy, and there
But I
were,
mean, I don't even think it's very deep. It's no more than.
right now it's 2 to 4 feet deep,
Yeah.
and it would be 9 feet after it is dredged. The ecological conditions would improve dramatically. The
Mhm.
canoeing and paddling capacities would improve dramatically. When I started here, 2006,
Mm.
people paddled all over the place.
Yeah, they did. It's true.
They don't. Nobody
Yeah,
goes paddling there anymore. Somebody had asked on the CPC, what other options are there? And, the other sort of really good ecological opportunity is to get rid of the dam.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was just replaced 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
well, it's true.
So at a great cost to the town. So
Yeah, but
I
you
don't-
can't look at sunk cost. I mean, if that's,
Yeah.
spend another 9 now that we built the dam 20 years ago, it's not like we put it in yesterday.
right.
Yeah.
But I think the application is in,
Yeah.
but it's also with the sort of caveat that I will, do whatever
I
the
mean, I
town
think we
thinks
should
is the
put
right
the
thing
dam
to do.
removal possibility on the table.
Yeah,
as
that's
one
what
of
I
the-
would think.
Yeah,
From what
put
I'm
everything
reading.
out there.
Yeah.
By the way, with such a huge difference between what we thought we might get as a bid and what came in, are there some assumptions that the bidder made that just are
Is it just
wrong?
labor shortage?
Well, so labor shortage, inflation and fuel costs were major drivers, but the other big issue was that we had talked with I had talked with MCI about disposing of the spoil at
Oh.
the prison. So they were
Wow.
going to take 30,000 yards of dredge.
Huh.
We were going to put 5,000 for the wetland shelf,
Okay.
but they were going to take 30,000 and use it for compost and, good soil material. We're going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
test it.
Was that beyond the mound itself, or was that the mound?
That was the mound.
Okay, so,
right?
so that was gonna be a working mound, if you will.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So-
Okay.
Right, so and that was gonna go
Yep.
sort of the wits end
Yeah.
behind their barn.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they can accept 3 trucks at a time between the hours of like 9 and 3. Because of the restrictions, because it's a prison
Oh
facility.
my gosh.
So that really put a big
Huge.
wrench in
Yeah,
things.
Sure, that stretches the project out for months, years.
And it
The
really.
inefficiency of it
The
all.
inefficiency,
Yeah.
that added a lot of cost to it.
Yeah.
So
Did you say it was 1,000 trucks?
it's at least 1,000 trucks.
Yeah.
Well,
If you
30
think
yards,
27
30
yards, yeah.
1,000, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I've had initial conversations with the MCI, and I want to keep it on this side of Route 2. But that's an active farm field. That, so, but they have identified an area. We're trying to figure out what the volume might be. So if we proceed with this, I think we could get the costs down to maybe 5. It would maybe reduce the scope of the dredging. We would really want to work to identify where that spoil goes. And, maybe we don't do the wetland shelf, which would be a shame because it's really, high value biodiversity. But,
Sure.
you know, so those are the questions that I think
Hmm.
the application is in. There's a lot of questions. before
It
we-
sounds like you don't support it.
Well, I don't
So,
know. I don't know. I mean, I don't
okay.
feel like I should just be moving forward and saying we should be just asking for more money because it
No,
came
no,
back
no,
high.
but I'm wondering the opposite. I'm wondering if you're thinking, well, this needs a lot more discussion before we actually ask. for
You know,
CPC.
to me, it seems like 3 million was reasonable. They
Yeah.
say it's a 100-year improvement.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's, you know, but
Yeah.
when it's 6, that just seems to me, that just seems like
Yeah.
it needs another look.
So
Yeah.
we'll have a discussion, a forum as part of
Yeah.
the CPC process and see where it takes us. I guess.
Right, probably outside of the CPC. I don't want to
Okay.
tie it to your, you know,
Another way
process,
of
but I
looking at
think,
it is there are a lot of other projects that would like
Yes,
money
exactly.
in
You bet.
town.
Yeah.
And
You
Yeah.
bet.
that's a huge
Yeah,
amount. to
what
put
could
into
you
that
do
a
one.
lot of
with
money,
$5 million that would
Mm.
a lot of
add
money,
Build the
Yeah.
affordable housing.
benefits?
right.
Yes.
Well,
For example-
or even within, adding value to wetlands, $5 million could improve a lot of wetlands.
Right.
Yeah.
How much would it cost to take the dam out?
I'm going to look into that and
Good.
get an
Yeah.
answer.
I think we should. I think we should.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been following the Watertown Dam removal.
Mhm.
That's been really interesting.
On the Charles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
But I think dam removal is still $1 million.
It's at least $1 million.
Mm.
But the ecological improvements associated with
Mhm.
dam
It's all
removal,
the studies,
Huge.
tremendous.
Yeah.
it's all the studies before the removal that I think.
Right.
take on the
That's
head.
right. You have to do a lot of we've done some of the sediment sampling, but not in the area right by the dam.
Yeah.
But yeah, so,
Okay, big project.
yeah.
That's fascinating. I wonder what does the property lines if you did a dam
Right.
removal.
Well, so if you look at Warner's Pond,
Yeah.
you think of it as an impoundment of Neshoba Brook, which is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Think of the, thread or Neshoba
The-
Brook comes through and
right.
it goes around Scout Island.
Yeah.
If you're a landowner around the pond,
Yeah.
you're going to see huge expansion of property,
Yeah.
but your waterfront is changing from pond
Yeah.
with a canoeable, maybe,
That's true.
access
That's true.
to a brook,
That's
a
true.
nice little babbling brook, but it's,
You get more land.
you get a lot more
Yeah,
land.
You do.
But it's
Maybe
wetland.
some is wetlands. A lot would,
Maybe some.
right.
maybe
So
not all of
that's, I think people would ask that question and.
Yeah,
should
I
be
don't think you
prepared
get a
to-
lot of
That's part of the
developable.
study.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be riverfront for sure. So 200 feet
Yeah.
off,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
100
Yeah,
feet.
but you can
anyway.
use that 200 feet. It's not like it's the 25 foot.
Would it change value of properties?
I would think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
that's a,
That's a lame.
That's a
no,
complicated
that's- it is a
Yeah,
complicated
yeah.
No, I know it's complicated, but
Love it.
I'm just thinking this is a really complicated
yeah.
Yep.
area. Yeah,
Right, right.
There's a lot of opinions. sometimes.
yeah, sure.
And then just the last thing to let you know, so we had today, I presented with Jane Gruber Chevalier as part of the library's climate initiative. We did a presentation on native seed collection,
Hmm.
which was,
I really wanted to go to that, but I
it was
couldn't.
middle of the day, so I don't think the
Yeah.
timing was really good. We'll do it again, but on Friday at 9, we are going to be doing an actual in the fields workshop. So if you want to join, it's 9 to 10:30. We'll provide all the equipment and everything else. Email me and let me know because we're limiting it to 15 participants. So that's this Friday.
And I was there. It was a good program.
Huh.
Thank
Learned a
you.
lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to see you there.
Good to be.
That's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Delia. All right.
May I
Bill,
move it?
you're
Okay. I move that the following 2 applications be continued to October 12th without discussion. It's the notice of intent for DEP file 1371611 at 141 Comerford Road, and the notice of intent for 48Y Fitchburg Turnpike, DEP file 1371612.
Second.
Thanks, Gary. And we'll take the vote. Bill,
Aye.
Nick,
I,
Gary,
All right.
Sarah,
Fine.
and I'm an I as well. All right, moving to the first continuance this evening. Notice of intent, 176 Main Street, DEP file number 137-1614. And we have Mary this evening.
Mary is not here, but I see Dawn and
Okay.
Sean and
Great.
a few others from their team.
All right.
Good evening, Don Kingman from Concord Academy, 166 Main Street. We worked really hard to try to accomplish all the tasks we had before this meeting, and we just flat ran out of time. And so we would reluctantly like to ask for a continuance on this project to your next available time frame. We just need a little more time to work through some issues with engineering and some other areas.
I think that's fine, Don, if you'd like to continue to the October 12th. Is there any documents you would want to get in prior to that?
Well, could we go beyond the 12th? We just need a little bit more time than that, just with the reporting side.
Is it 2 weeks after that,
We
Karen?
have one meeting because of Rosh Hashanah.
Oh, right, right.
November.
So it's, yeah, November.
First Wednesday in November.
No, November 2nd, is that what I'm hearing?
Wednesday, November 2nd,
November
7
2nd,
PM.
Don.
I'm looking at my fellow teammates here, Sean Malone and JP, and I'm seeing a nodding of a yes. So yes, that would work for us.
Okay,
Why don't you give them a material deadline submission for that meeting?
so that would be.
Right. So if it's November 2nd and it's the Friday before that's the 28th, so 2 Fridays before that would be the 21st.
Is that enough time for you folks?
We believe so, yes.
So October 21st.
So October
that's
21st,
the
get the
Friday,
material.
Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah, if materials are in by the 21st, that gives us 10 days to review.
Yeah. And what that would allow us to do is to make an integrated package to you. So it's not certain elements tonight, maybe certain elements in the future would be one package to address all your questions and concerns.
Great.
That would be great. Okay, duly noted. We'll see you on the November 2nd.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. All right, well, let me flip to a couple pages. I guess our next hearing is notice of intent, 82 Estabrook Road, DEP file 137-1609. And let's see, Kevin, are you going to be discussing it this evening, or is it Jessica?
Hi, we're both on.
Okay. I think from what I can tell, I think we're in fairly good shape on this one. I think got all the documentation in. Excuse me. Any of the commissioners have any particular questions on this or comments? Sure. You guys want to, do you want to pull it up? You want to
Yes.
have
Do
them
you
pull it
want
up?
to pull it up or I can pull it up? I'll pull it up.
So Rich isn't here this evening.
He's right there.
I am. Hi, good evening.
Rich. Sorry, I didn't see you earlier. Sorry about that. We did see some changes on the landscaping and the meadow and whatnot. You want to just touch on those?
Sorry, let me just go to a different.
There we go.
Especially, no, I
Yeah.
can't.
Rich, you want to touch on the some of the changes that have occurred since last
It's not
meeting?
as good then.
Certainly, we met on September 7th, and then there's a site walk with Delia and Kevin Hartzell and Jessica Alpert on the 13th. And they improved the meadow area between the 0 and 50. My notes for 10 plans have been updated just to reflect the labels from the landscape plan from Stimson Associates. So basically what we did was we tightened up our hay bale line along the edge of lawn, which is the new edge of lawn, which will have the pheno markers, about 15 of them at least. And the existing tree would be saved with a tree protection area around there. You can see the house proposed to the left of that with a terrace walkout area to the left of that area. And then there's a driveway entrance on the right within the buffer zone. And so basically what this represents is a reference to all the landscape architect comments in areas that they're going to improve within the 0 to 25 to mitigate the proposed addition of the house and terrace and driveway within the buffer zone.
We have Kevin just.
Yeah. And then, of course, we did see Kevin's, I think, resume. Thank you, Julie. Just brain cramp here. So look to, and thank you for sending that. Looks eminently qualified. And Kevin, if you just wanted, I do see that you reconfigured the mitigation area kind of running alongside the wetland and stuff. You just want to touch on that a little bit in terms of reconfiguration and thoughts towards that?
Yeah, of course. When myself, Delia, and my colleague Jessica took a look on site, and so a few of the changes that were made from I believe the last plan you saw was that we took some field measurements to understand where there was existing turf that was in the wetland, and then where there was existing forbs, non-turf, right, desirable species that were on the house side of the wetland line. So we just took some field measurements for that to really narrow in this what we were doing. And at that time we thought, well, let's just make for the purposes of monitoring and maintenance and execution of a mitigation area, right, to ensure that there's a thorough success of species, we thought, well, let's just mirror the outline of the existing wetland line. So you see, that was really the layout of the plan changes, and then we added a little bit more narrative to discuss how this is going to be done. So the mitigation area will stretch from the in certain areas it shifts, right, but it'll be roughly from the wetland line, except for where you see wetland flag. It diverges at wetland flag BC 11 through BC 8, just because that was existing forbs. It's mostly goldenrod and maybe some asters. So this way the mitigation area runs along the wetland line and basically just matches it. And we thought that then we would install some wood stakes on the mitigation side or on the house side in order to just delineate the differences and see, it'll just help us monitor for long-term to ensure that the desired species are growing and not weeds and so forth. So then we also just changed some of the hatches. So we are accomplishing 2,800, I think, plus or it's almost 2,900 square feet of mitigation. And then there's going to be a restored, as we get further away from the wetland line, we're calling it a restored meadow, but it'll likely be a mix of native warm and cool season grasses with plugs. So we're doing these polygons of plugs so that as we get closer to the residence lawn, it's a bit more ornamental. But again, those will be native plugs that you see there, and those are in 100 groups of 100s. Yes, right there. Yep. So you see 100 PL. We don't have a final plant list for those yet, but really the idea is to mimic the existing wetland, but maybe increase the ornamentation a little bit. Maybe some Rudbeckia, Echinacea, maybe some iris, probably some maybe a few a bit more of the ornamental asters that get a bit more vibrant purple, different bloom times. But that's in the restoration area, outside of the mitigation area. The mitigation area we decided was that we would strip all of the sod, the turf sod in the mitigation area. And depending on how the commission feels about it, we would strip it, make sure there's no compaction, do necessary scarification in case there is. That's all called out for in the plan. Deli and I spoke on site a little bit about what I've been doing in the past is just doing a little top dressing of compost, of an organic compost, maybe just an inch and a half thick. It's almost like a top dressing, I would call it, to ensure that the seed, that the soil, the top of that soil can hold a little bit more moisture and help the seed germinate. And then once that occurs, we'll be off and running with monitoring for germination, establishment, occasional mowing depending on seasonal growth. And that's really the crux of it. I can dig deeper, but that's really the intent here. Oh, and the obviously the lawn will be delineated with the pheno markers, but I think that's been on the plan of a bit now.
Yeah.
So
I think I just want to confirm that the plantings outside of the mitigation area, but still within the buffer zone, that's all going to be native plantings. It's going to be more ornamentals, but it's not going to be like sterile cultivars of native species or anything like that, correct?
right. Yeah, it might it like I said, it might be maybe echinacea and Rudbeckia, things we're not seeing out there, but it'll still be natives. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
I think the one other thing, maybe just to point out on the plan, because we noticed it when we were out there, is off to this. I don't know if north is up on the orientation you have there, but in the
North is
over
down.
near wetland flag 12, and in the tree line, there's quite a bit of bittersweet growing up there. So one concern was that if we are stripping some soil and in order to get some things grown in, we thought, well, it's surprising that the bittersweet is actually concentrated right in that area. And that's that hatch you see there is estimated. We took a quick field measurement. You know, it's a little deceiving because some of the bittersweet is up in the canopy and it's more so in the where there's a lot of sun aspect. So we did write up a little plan to do some cut and swab treatment to suppress and hopefully eradicate the bittersweet in that area, because it has not moved any further in the upland into the property line. There's some Virginia creeper at the ground plane, but I just want to bring that to your attention and get your feedback on that. And when Delia and I were when the three of us were on site, I do understand that there's no broadcast herbicide application, so we did call for cut and swab.
Yeah, correct. So you're going to try to attack that general area at the like flag 12, as you said. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
From flag 12 in the buffer, and then moving up in the tree line in the buffer zone.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, especially as you say, if you're establishing a meadow adjacent to it.
Yeah, we didn't want to encourage. We don't want to encourage spreading of that plant.
Yeah. And Delia, you're all set with just the general protocol on the bittersweet
Yes.
cutting down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin, for mentioning that as well.
Sure.
Comments from the commission? All right. Seems good. Yeah. Seems like a nice improvement. Any comments from the public in regard to this application? Seeing none? All right. So I believe we have an order of conditions.
I've got 1609. This is 1608.
No, I think I can do this. Let's see. It says 1609, right?
Yeah, 1609.
So I move that we issue a special order of conditions with a finding under A, and we issue standard conditions numbers 1 through 20 and special conditions numbers 21 through 58. And this is for DEP filing 1371609 at 82 Estherbrook Road.
Second.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll take the vote. Bill?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Gary?
Hi.
Sarah?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. The next application, let's see, it is the DEP file number 137-1608 for an NOI 1643 Monument Street. And we have, good evening, Ben and David. Yep, coming on.
Hello,
Good evening. How are you?
I am well, thanks. How's everybody tonight?
Very good. I think we had just a couple of things to clean up from last meeting, the 25 to 50 foot waivers, some mitigation, Question about where the rain garden was going to get planted, et cetera. You want to just touch on those elements in terms of where we're at so we can
Yes,
just make sure they're all in good order?
yes. Delia, you want to throw that to me, or you got it? Okay.
I'm happy, if
So just to,
if you prefer to share, I'm happy to have you share.
okay, yeah, so what we did, the items from last meeting was that we were going to you requested a letter of support from the neighbors. To be blunt, they said no. So we have one of the items, changes in the plans is that we are now showing the rain garden totally on the Trafton's property. Yes, that's it there. So it's a little bit smaller. And we've changed just a tiny bit the location of the erosion control so we can get that built properly. And another issue was a detail for the bridge, which is on the detail sheet. And then I'll go through the 4 items and then we can talk about them specifically if you want to. We needed to add information on the Euonymus alatus, the burning bush, to be removed, and square footage for mitigation, compensation, and methods for that. That is now all on the plans. And then we needed to provide a calculation of the square footage of impacts to be mitigated. And we completed that at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, Delia, maybe something like that. And then the last one was updating the waiver requests, and you have copies of those. So if you want to discuss any of the items in particular, be happy to do that.
Thank you, David. I took a look at the plans. It looks like everything was covered from our last meeting, so I don't really have any questions necessarily. Any other commissioners?
No.
Okay. Does the public have any comments regarding this application? Not seeing any? Okay. I think with that, we have our order of conditions.
Yeah, so I would move that we close an issue order of conditions for 1643 Monument Street, DEP file number 1371609. No, 8. Yeah, 8. With standard conditions 1 through 20, findings A through C, sorry, and then special conditions 21 through 57.
Thank you. And we'll take the vote. Bill?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Thank you, guys. Good luck with the
Great.
project.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Have a good
Good night,
evening.
all.
Good.
All right, we'll move on to our new application this evening. It's a notice of intent, 75 White Avenue, DEP file 137-1616. And let's see, who will be discussing that with us this evening? Is it John? Oh, John, how are you? In person. Come on up. Please. help yourself.
Excellent,
Yep.
thank you. Thank you very much. Busy night for something you guys had indicated you might get out real quick, right? The roll of the dice.
Well, keep it up, keep it up.
Right now.
Very good, yeah.
Don't jinx us.
That's right.
I'm here representing Dorcas and Ken Miller. They're my in-laws.
Really don't mess this up then.
So they live on White Avenue by the pond, last house on the left as you're driving to the railroad tracks. They have a timber stair that was put in as part of a renovation. I think part of it was there when they bought the property. They bought the property, tree had fallen down, went through the roof, destroyed it. They bought the house at a fire sale, kind of, I guess, and they built a new one, and it's much better than the old one.
Yeah.
They built on the same foundation to minimize the impact, and they put a lot of. We had to put retaining walls in back then, 2 major retaining walls. I call them major, but they're really not. They're natural stone walls. And they allow the site to traverse down without steep slopes falling into the lake.
Mhm.
That having been said, there's a timber wall that still exists that's right along the pond that will eventually go the way as the stairs are going right now. But the stairs I want to address first. The stairs have undergone a lot of deterioration to the point where places I could stick my finger in, and I only stop because my knuckles stop the finger, as opposed to I hit something. So it's that question, will some of the face portions of the wall, there's an 8-foot wall and a set of stairs that come down. There's a landing in the middle of the stairs about halfway down on the existing. What you see there, the colored version, is in the background. You can't probably see it to that plan. But do you want to see that existing stuff? And we can switch the plan out? Well, there we go, right there.
Yep.
Okay, zoom right in, perfect. Okay. I wish I had a pointer. Can I move?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
No, I
go
have
up there
a
and
pointer,
point?
but it's,
Is
yeah,
that
go ahead.
easier?
I don't, my pointer doesn't work on a TV screen,
Oh,
but
that's
if
all
you
right.
want to
But
just.
mine does.
Yes, there you go.
It'll probably help. The existing house, let's see.
okay. I don't.
No, it's not okay. I apologize for being in the way. The existing house outline is right here. There's a deck that comes out. The first floor is about 9 feet above grade down here. That's where the deck is. There's a second story bedroom and a sitting area. Down over here is the existing steps. They come down, they end right there at the timber steps. There's a landing right here. The top of the stairs is right here. There's an existing timber retaining wall. It's about almost 8 feet high right there. And that's the part that really has me worried, because I know it's going to go, and hopefully not too soon. And then we have a timber wall on this side of the stairs, and then we have grade on that side of the stairs. And it's stepping down. There's rod at the bottom of the stairs in multiple locations. The wall has it at different heights along the wall, and it's got to go. It's really not. It's not stable. That's probably the best way to describe it. So it needs to change. So what we want to do, and this is probably the most important part of our conversation from the engineer's perspective, is that this wall is 8 feet high, and in order to remove that wall, there would be an 8 foot wall of soil. Over here, let me get my bearings straight here. Over here is a stone wall, one of the ones I mentioned. This is a landing area over here, a plaza. The door in is right here at that same level as this, 9 feet above what we have down there roughly where the deck is. So in order to build a new wall here, we'd have to take this one down. Problem. So what I came up with as a solution is we would build a lower terrace wall here. When we took this down, we'd only have a very short period of time where anything was exposed, and we'd be up about halfway. So there's this risk in trying to pull this down and then build the lower wall before it. So the lower wall provides a lot of things. What it does is it allows us to stabilize things. There's a septic tank somewhere in here, in this area right here, about 5 feet from that wall. So when we go down to dig this wall out, 8 feet exposed, septic tank right there. So the idea is that by building the terrace, we create a stable plinth from which to build. Even if we build it and then excavate for the footing for the upper wall, that's going to give us some stability and save some time with deep excavation. So kind of moving the earth instead of trying to dig below it. And the idea is to replicate what we have, put a little curve on it. There's a walkway that follows the trail. It's not really a trail, not about that wide, because I don't think they really use it. There's a big stone down at the bottom, and these are stones at the bottom. And our new stair will end in line with the old stair. It's 21 feet 1 inch from that retaining wall down by the pond that I mentioned. The pond is beyond that, but now, just to show, I think more important is where it is. The pond is beyond that 2 feet, some places 3 feet, but I use that as the kind of the reference point because it's solid today. So what we want to do is come down with the same idea. We have a terrace, we have a bottom section of stairs, a top section of stairs, and we have these walls right here. This will be a planter basically at this level. This will all be planted. The stairs end. The existing stairs are right here. We're moving this over about 2 feet 4 inches to make that work, and it's going to facilitate all the construction. It's a tough build, and it's a tough build because the grade change from the wall over here down to there doesn't allow vehicles. Can't bring equipment down there to do it. So most of it's going to be handwork. We've got a CMU walls we're going to do. We're going to build as backers for the stone walls. We'll see the stone. But what we'll do is we will lower the blocks over the wall. It's there now. The whole pallet can go down. We can drop that in. Probably a small lift would allow us to do that. But the big picture is that we need to build this to keep this stable. And this becomes an element, a landscape element. And right now, this ground cover over here, we'll use what we can. Probably put it over here. And eventually, whatever grows there will become what's natural. I don't know if you've been to the site.
No.
You've been to the site. So,
And John, can you just simply indicate the approximate location of the 25-foot
yes.
setback, just roughly?
Right here.
Okay,
Goes up here, right there, that line right there.
So it's this line here.
I think you just go.
It just
25
stops,
foot,
yeah, so it should
That's
just
25
continue
foot.
across.
So that BBW is pretty much of a
Yeah.
And
parallel line.
it's down
Yeah.
over here, right here. That line over
Okay.
there is approximate. And it was based on the day I was there and where the water was, and there was really no other way to judge it. And I didn't think it was important to know exactly where that was based on what we were doing.
No, and I think that's right. I just to get our bearings, because in essence, it's a replacement in kind.
It's a replacement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
generally, it's all disturbed today, and you know,
Right.
you're kind of building it so
Right.
you can build it.
right. And the idea is that a stone solution will last a lot longer than a timber solution, and it's not likely to move.
Yeah.
And if we get that, we change the condition with that lower terrace, it's gonna improve what's happening here structurally. This wall's probably moved, existing wall's probably moved about 4 inches on the top because of
The
the
pressure.
active pressure
Yeah.
that pushes the wall. So in a nutshell, that's it. We've got a silt sock around the site over here.
And I had a question about that. I mean, because of the, it's a fairly steep grade change between, the top of slope at 9. And, it's a 9-foot elevation difference.
Right.
Is a silt sock going to be adequate for,
Maybe.
silt fence? I don't love the silt fence because it is invasive with the trenching in, but
And
I
that's
just,
why I didn't use it.
Yeah.
What we have here is, the grade is flat right in here. And
I know, but it's everything above it that I'm
But
worried
this
about.
comes up over here
Yeah,
at that area.
Right.
Yeah. But the
So I
grade
think it-
runs this way.
maybe at a minimum, put in straw bales and to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
something as
Yeah.
backup if you need it, if the contractor needs it.
I'm good with that. I'm
Yeah,
good with that.
yeah.
We're gonna do a
It's a
silt
little-
sock and a silt sock's better than a hay bale. A hay bale, you have to clear a lot to make it work. It's 2 feet wide,
Right,
right?
I know,
If you do
but
a
the
silt
silt-
sock and a silt fence would probably be a less intrusive solution,
okay. I mean,
but that's
I,
okay.
yeah, I just don't think a straw wattle is gonna be
Yeah.
enough for just
Okay.
having such a steep grade and
Yeah. Okay,
there's gonna be a fair amount of excavation to make
Okay.
that
all
work.
right. And let's see what else. There's more. I
Maybe
wanted to
along the
share.
side, a straw wattle is fine, but down at the base,
Mhm.
Yeah.
in that U
To
along the
collect it.
base.
Yeah.
That'd be easy enough to do.
Yeah.
We keep it as tight to the bottom as we can.
Yeah.
So we're still on that level area
Right.
where that goes in down there.
Yeah,
And
and
then we
you,
can run it up, we can do the silt sock over here.
yeah, and you can stay pretty tight because, as you said, it's mostly handwork.
It's gonna be-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Right?
handwork,
There's
yeah.
not any machinery going in there.
It's gonna be
No.
handwork, so.
Yep.
The idea is right now, there's bluestone pavers
Yep.
up here, and we turn it into timber. The idea is to make it all stone, take it down there. So if you see a stone facade here, there'll be a stone here, this will be a stone cap. This will be a planting area, and you'll see the face of the stone wall here from down below. So it'll be a nice
Nice.
solution,
Yep.
more in keeping with what they have there now.
Yeah.
It'll look like it belongs as opposed to the timber stair.
Got it.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for walking us through that. That was
Okay.
helpful.
Yeah.
All right.
And it would be nice in that planting area, if you can just identify, it'd be nice to put in some native,
Yeah, I was gonna
Shrubs and-
take what was there. And
which is
move
all
it over.
vinca,
What?
which is all vinca,
Yeah.
which
it
is not,
Yeah.
not a
I think
preferred.
Dorcas would be happy to put something native in there.
Great. I think if you look on that plan, the original, that base plan,
Yes.
probably will see that there's some good natives in there, but if,
Yeah.
I mean, and I can work with you on this, just calc out what the area is and then some native shrubs. We generally look to
Yeah.
see, 5 foot on center for shrubs.
Mhm. Yeah.
If it's a low bush blueberry, then it's more like 1 or 2 foot on center because they're just a lot smaller.
Okay. We'll have to figure out what we want to put in there. It's gonna still be it'll still be like a crevice almost.
Yeah,
Right now, it's really tight.
right,
3
right.
3
It is
feet.
very tight right now.
Yeah, and so when we open it up, so more stuff will be able to grow there anyway, so.
Right, right.
It'll be, and one thing they're gonna do eventually is AC heating unit over here,
Mhm.
and they're gonna move that over here and put a heat pump. That's probably
Right.
another exercise for them in the future, so.
So, do you show that? I thought you showed that on the plan. Is that the relocate? Yeah,
I did,
relocated
yeah,
heat.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
okay.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be much smaller than that, that would go under the deck.
Yep,
So in an area that's already disturbed, so.
Yep.
But we have to work around what's here now, so.
right.
And John, on that retaining wall that you're proposing, the low
Yes.
retaining wall, will that need a building permit?
It will need a building
Is it
permit.
4
Yeah.
feet and
Yeah,
beyond?
yeah,
right?
so when we decide who they're gonna hire and do that, then we'll get all that filed and we'd ask for a stamp plan, of course, we'll get
Right.
a
The
stamp
building
plan.
will want that.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else? The big thing is the access kind of drives this and the concern about that fill that's behind that wall
Right.
that's fallen. So
So where do you plan, where's your stockpiling? location?
staging, can we slide this plan that way?
Yep.
Magically?
Magically watch. Like that.
It worked, and come down a little bit. Oops,
Other way.
other way, yeah, right here. Right in here,
There you
we
go.
got a staging area right in here, and we've got a silt sock around that's pavement.
Yeah.
So we'll put the silt sock down, and
Yeah.
if you want more than that, there's a catch basin, infiltration basin here,
Yeah.
and there's another one further down there, and we'll put an inlet basket in there
Right.
for that. And if you have special ones that you want to see, let us know.
Yeah, just give us a detail for what you plan to put in,
I was gonna go buy a product from online.
like a
not
silt
online,
sock or something like, I'm not silt sock, silt sack.
It's silt sack would be
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So it'd be made for the basin.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't recall, and maybe you have that on your details.
Probably
but
not. I don't have that on my detail.
Yeah, so just something so that.
Yeah,
it's, and just so this is the driveway that they park,
This is where they park, the garage is right here.
Yeah.
They kind of use this for turning, yes.
right? So
Exactly.
how does that stockpiling location affect the ability to utilize the driveway?
Creative parking.
Okay,
There you go.
okay,
Yeah.
A little inconvenience
Yeah,
for a bit.
we really have, I mean, the other choice is to put it down over here.
Right.
Which is an option, but it'd be further away.
right,
The building would between it, and no matter what, this wall here exposes, got 2 feet of exposed
Right.
wall, so nothing's gonna go that way anyway. And this is all built face. So if they decide that moving it over here has to be done, we'll ask and
Okay.
make sure that everything's okay with what they're doing and how
I
they're
think you
doing
could
it.
you could indicate that on the plan.
Yeah.
As one location, the other location probably would be acceptable too.
Would you like me to
Right.
put that as an optional staging?
Yeah, why don't
area
you just have
plan?
an alternate stockpile location so
Okay.
you're covered with the plan?
And
All right.
then have to come back and change it.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Joe, when are you planning on doing this? When's the,
It's not gonna happen this year, it's gonna happen next year.
that's what I thought.
I think it's gonna take some time,
Yeah.
handwork.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want is the work being done when it's cold.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
And again, for parking, I mean, it's one thing to park, over there and.
right.
But it didn't know, it's gotta be simple during the winter time. We don't, I mean, it's tough to move all that snow.
And I think, John, also, we still would need the 25 and 50-foot waivers,
I
right?
put a waiver together.
You did, I got that
Okay.
today. I'm sorry, I didn't send it out.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's see, there was one other thing.
I haven't even looked at it, actually.
Yeah.
National Heritage stuff was all, and I filed early with that. We got an initial response letter. They came back with the initial response letter, said, you gotta send me all the full NOI. So I sent them the full NOI, and I got an email back. And I was surprised that it was just an email
Right.
from them. I expected something a
The
little.
letter, it's usually an official letter, and they
Yeah.
can copy the town on it, which they
Yeah.
usually do. which
Yeah.
is-
But yeah,
But they said it was exempt.
You're good.
Yeah.
yeah, so it was
Okay.
exempt.
Okay, great.
Yes, no blood wart on the property.
So so you have this estimated BBW line down here,
Mhm.
and you have a 25-foot that stops
Mhm.
here.
Right.
So that should continue across
And.
and then add the
50-foot line,
50-foot.
Yeah, because I think you made it all blue.
So let me
Right,
go
it's
back.
right, I
to
can see the dots here. That's right
Oh,
there. Yeah, somehow it's blue.
that's, oh, is that it here?
It's right here. That's it.
Okay, all right.
It comes
Yeah,
straight, it's got a little bit of a bend.
yeah,
so
a
there
little
it
bit of a
is,
bend
there
and
it
heads
is.
off there.
So John, if you could just on the 25, as you extend that, if you could just call those out more so, so. we-
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yes.
You know what? So I see them now. That's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
they're,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to the color drawing, you see it really well.
okay.
Okay.
This one?
For lack
So
of a
this one
better
just
term,
stops
I
though. The
figured them out.
25 just stops. I don't see it extending beyond here.
It goes at an angle.
And it's here, it turns at an angle, bends over here.
Yeah.
This comes
Why would
around,
it bend if
it
the,
comes over here.
if the BBW is
I
staying?
know.
The BVW isn't. Look at the BVW.
But
It's also at an
bending
angle.
there.
Yeah.
And this is bending,
Right. And so both,
That's a good question.
yeah, it's an odd offset because this is not,
this guy
Same.
bends.
yeah, no, I see that.
25 bends.
Well, we take care of that. I
Or
can't
wouldn't it
do
be bending?
It's, if the bend is in the wrong place.
The bending would be directly opposite.
Yeah.
The bending's from this.
Yep.
This
From that
little
point,
piece,
yeah, yeah.
this little piece here kills
Right.
it
Should
all.
be,
Yeah,
That little
that's right.
jog.
Would it be up?
The jog should
No,
come
that
down.
jog creates, I mean, I could make it a radius, but
yeah, that isn't
Yeah,
that what
it's
it would
just a
be?
straight line. So basically what I had that line and
It
this
should be
line, and I just filled
radius.
it in. I could have made it
Yeah.
a radius here, because it would be a rounding from here
Right.
to here.
Right.
And I just made it simple.
Okay,
Mm.
so
So-
it should be more of an arc so that every point is gonna be 25.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that's an easy. Okay,
You can do
okay, great.
that. Okay.
Okay, so a little bit of to-do,
Yeah.
if you will.
So for the next
Good.
meeting, revised materials are due by Friday noon. So either continue to that if you think there's not a lot of
To do-
changes. This Friday.
This Friday, no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Or if you want to go to the 10-12 meeting.
No, I want to get it done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next meeting would be what?
November
So-
Wednesday.
November 2nd.
So 10-12 or November 2nd.
Okay.
And the deadline for November 2nd, as we learned, is October 21st.
21st, I think.
Yeah.
So it's either this Friday or October 21st.
Okay. And can I email it to you?
You
Or
can.
you need copies for that time frame?
So we need both. You
Okay.
can email by noon and then have plans and hard copies when? Yep.
Okay, that'll work. I can probably get it all done at once, but
Okay,
prints I send out for, so.
right.
All right. No problem.
Okay, thank you, John.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. If you think of
Excellent.
anything else that comes to mind.
Okay, let me just ask if there's any public comment regarding 57 White Ave.
75.
Oh, God, did I make another typo on this?
75 White
No, I'm sure it was me.
75 White
No,
Ave.
yeah, that's
Duly
me.
noted.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm reading out the thumbnail.
Yep, sorry.
Oh.
Okay, no problem.
That's
No comment?
no public comments that I
All right.
see.
All right, Jensen,
We're all
we'll
good.
hopefully you'll shoot for
Okay.
Friday and we'll see you back on the 10th. or the
We'll get
12th,
them
rather.
for Friday. 'Cause that's,
Perfect.
yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Fine.
Your dredging project sounds interesting.
It's already
Wanna
been
put a bid in?
interesting. It's just getting more interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we have two COCs
Yes.
on the agenda,
We do
O'Shaughnessy
have
and Davis.
CFCs. First is 4513. First is for 77 Coolidge Road. That was an addition, a number of additions on a property there. And they have done everything according to plan. They did have a few sprinkler heads in the 50. They have removed those. Their mitigation areas look good, and that is ready for issuance. And Davis was an after the fact project where they had done some work within the buffer zone, some lawn expansion and some additional work. That's been resolved. He's put in pheno markers. And I looked at that today, and it's just wonderful to see when you have these restored, mitigation areas that it's just all asters and goldenrods
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
Joe Highway.
Good.
Gorgeous.
Good time of year to look at it.
Yeah.
And I asked the homeowner how he liked it, and he was like, "Eh." And when I look up the slope, and it's just a different aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's got a much more manicured garden, and
Yeah,
but we were sort of looking, he's noticing that there was a lot of bees and insects on the asters and that sort of
Good,
thing.
yeah.
So,
yeah, that's the season
Yeah.
now.
yeah, so both are ready for your issuance.
Great. Could I have Nick, you want to do that one?
Sure. Both of them or just the first one?
The one you do both.
Okay. I move that we issue certificates of compliance for 77 Coolidge Road, DEP file 1371486, and 513 Strawberry Hill Road, DEP file number 1371451.
Thank you, Sarah. The vote, Bill,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. All right, with that, I think we,
It's 8:00. We
8
did it.
o'clock,
Amazing.
we are adjourned.
Well done.
Just